This is what we are. We are.
Hi, this is Meriem Bennani, and unfortunately I couldn't make it to Barcelona today because I have a Moroccan passport and my visa was denied, believe it or not. So I am talking to you from New York, and I'm still really happy to be able to be part of this conference. And so today, to be in the theme, I wanted to talk about the YouTube algorithm and the circulation of music in Moroccan dialect, Darija. So it all started with this star that I discovered on YouTube. Her name is Iman Tsunami. She says her name was given to her by a woman at a performance who shouted, "A real tsunami," after Iman, who sweats a lot, completed one of her signature moves. So Tsunami was interesting to me at first for obvious reasons. She has literally turned her ass into an asset. It is explicitly talked about, and she's completely unapologetic about this approach to business. I had thoughts about Kim Kardashian's stardom in the reality TV context of the US, and thought it would be interesting to understand the mechanics behind Tsunami's success with North African pop culture. She became the person to have performed at your wedding, which means that you are VIP enough to get to her and you can afford her really expensive rate. And for me, this success was really meaningful because Iman identifies as a sheikha, and a sheikha is originally a singer of Ita music, a very important genre in Moroccan folklore. Today though, a sheikha often means a dancer and is associated with nightlife and highly eroticized. In a way, it has become an insult in Moroccan slang, like saying you're slutty. I was very excited to have access to all her videos from New York thanks to YouTube. This is something we take for granted, obviously, but it's really amazing that thanks to the YouTube algorithm, I can search Sheikha Tsunami and find all these videos of her. So I started researching how YouTube functions and could draw a very obvious analogy between its algorithm and the circulation of her videos. I wanted to understand what the YouTube algorithm actually means, and by that I'm specifically talking about the algorithm that selects the videos on the side, the suggested videos, when you look at one video. So I found this paper that was published by Google in 2016, and I kind of like studied it, and this is a simple a summary of it. YouTube uses two neural networks in the selection of the suggested videos that it shows on the right. The first one is candidate generation. What that means is that your history is combined with the search history of similar users for a collaborative filtering of the video corpus. The idea alone of similar users is really interesting to me in terms of thinking about diasporas, because I think of similar users as this, you know, when looking at Moroccan dance videos, for example, as a Moroccan diaspora around the world, but it's also diasporas that are maybe connected by other things than country of origin, which can be subcultures that are, you know, connected by a community around the world that has similar taste, and then becomes responsible for giving each other connections, or for opening each other up to other videos that you wouldn't have access to otherwise. And then the second neural network used by the YouTube algorithm is the ranking filter. So that means that videos with high ranking on the basis of fulfilling an objective are most likely to be recommended. What that means can be, you know, like there's a ton of different objectives that are taken into consideration. One example of objective is how long you are viewing a video, you know, like a 5-minute video, are you watching 1 minute or the full 5 minutes? If most people are watching the full 5 minutes, it makes it a good video in YouTube language, which means they will most likely be recommended. Okay, so this meant in a way that YouTube prioritized collaborative preference of people similar to me around the world over making sure that it was really Tsunami in the videos that came up. Of course, keyword relevance is one of the factors, but the neural aspect of YouTube focuses on making connections. That's what neural means. and these connections seem wired on the essence of Sheikha dance moves and suggesting me videos of tsunami imitators, as long as the movements felt similar enough to fulfill a desired objective based around a certain frequency of movements. On the other hand, there is this funny reverse process where imitators would upload videos and title them tsunami to get more views, or as a new slang or keyword to describe a way of moving and a relationship to the camera or a type of video. So in a way, people are participating in confusing the algorithm and turning the search into an abstract and poetic depiction of a movement's aesthetic rather than its author, originally tsunami. I mean, a lot of women prefer tsunami, but popularized on YouTube, tsunami. So all this leads to great errors like this one. So, after all these thoughts, something that I need to tell you about is that this work was in the context of preparing a show in New York at this place called The Kitchen. And The Kitchen is a space that has, an art gallery and a theater, and it has a very specific relationship to dance and performance. So although I was showing in the art gallery, I wanted to do something that had to do with dance and music, which are also subjects that I really care about. So I thought I'm gonna meet Tsunami and make the full show about her. And I went to Morocco and I met with her and I told her about my ideas and we planned on filming in the summer. But I immediately understood that she would most likely flake on me. I realized I had to find a plan B. So I looked back at my notes on the connection between the YouTube algorithm and the circulation of Sheikha videos, and I realized I had overlooked a very important element. That element is language. So the power of these videos existing on YouTube is that there is no better archive for Moroccan language than a platform that functions like a dialect. It learns and grows in real time, and the words with low ranking disappear into history, while the popular words circulate through collaborative filtering. So language was also what made the specificity of Rita music, as it was initially performed by Sheikhat, who were singers of a poetic and political repertoire and not dancers at all.
الشيخة هي امرأة مناضلة مقاومة اللي كتأدي فن العيد.
So it was interesting to think also of how much of a hard time Sheikhats get today when their bodies and voices have preserved the only existing archive of Moroccan dialect and history that is not written in French or classical Arabic. And French or classical Arabic are both language of some type of colonization. So, in other words, those lyrics are one of the biggest archive we have that is written in the dialect, in the local dialect. So I did research on transcription of Rita lyrics, and I kept stumbling upon the name of this person, Hassan Najmi, who's a writer who researched the genre in depth. And he introduced me to two women that he said I should go and film. And he sent me to visit them in Safi, which is the city where they live. So the first one is Hafida Hasnawiya. She's a veteran in the genre who was part of the most famous band and is the ultimate star in Rita music. So, he also then told me about an up-and-coming star, Siham Sfiouya, who's very young. And, I looked her up and I realized she was a Facebook professional. So I immediately got very passionate about her and realized I would experience a dance version of the past 50 years in the pop culture of a country by filming both of them for the same video. He also said this though. He said, "Hey Meriem, do you think you can try to make them meet and hang out? Because they came to me complaining about each other and they really don't get along. I think they have two very different outlooks on life and work." So I spent 2 days with each one of them, where to my surprise, their conflict turned my whole video into a reality TV show. However, with the YouTube ideas in mind, it was kind of really interesting. For Hafida, the old woman, a real sheikha only learns from an older one who takes her through a training that involves being a real disciple and learning to count the beats and the measures with your leg over the leg of your master. So it's like a physical transmission, an oral transmission.
داكشي اللي وزناه الربيعه كامله كنصب لها طيب هاي حمرت الشيخ.
She thinks that Siham learned Rita on a Discman and is not a real sheikha. In other words, Hafida is mad at Siham for not coming to her for advice. Siham though is literate, which Hafida isn't, and she's internet fluent. So, she chose to learn the new way. She didn't choose to learn the old way. She has a very specific project for Rita. Her project is to make videos of the standards and write the lyrics as captions so that people can read them, learn them, and share them worldwide. So Siam is really using YouTube as a powerful educational and archiving tool that will take the Moroccan dialect into other countries and into the future while keeping track of its past evolutions. In a way though, they're both relying on collaborative filtering through similar users, one from direct body-to-body transmission, the other from body-to-body through algorithm transmission, allowing for the circulation to grow faster and also challenge mortality.
Good morning, Meriem.
Hi.
How is the morning in New York?
Yeah, it's 8:53 a.m.
So did you already had breakfast?
I'm having coffee.
Okay, that's nice. We can have a 10-minute coffee then. So we'll chat a bit, but I invite the people in the room to, if you want to ask something to Meriem, I will bring the questions to her through the WhatsApp group, so through the IAM W18 WhatsApp group. So, but I will pick the questions, so don't worry, Meriem. I will just share them with you. So, first of all, thanks a lot for waking up this early to join us. it feels really weird where I am at the moment because I'm in the control room. It's super hot. It's like a sauna. But yeah, just to give some context on my brightness. So, Meriem, I explained them how pissed off we are with the consulate and the whole visa thing. So, yeah, I just wanted to share with you a little bit with a slightly big audience about this. As Colombian myself, I've also struggled with visas. And now that we are talking in this session about, amongst other topics, identity, what are your thoughts on this topic of visas, which is kind of something that many of us are struggling with, and has all of these interconnections with politics, with culture, with stereotypes, with power. So, how would you describe? I would start with your experience, the minute that they started, delaying the process, like complicated everything in relation, to like the bigger picture of the topics that you are looking at from your practice at the moment.
Yeah, I mean, it's a hard thing to give an opinion on because it's very arbitrary. Like, conversation can't really change. I think visa situation, at least these type of visas, which are just tourist visa for countries that have to have a tourist visa just to go to Europe or America. I've always had to do them since childhood, and it's not even something I was really angry at because I was so used to it. But this past few years, because I get to like asked to travel for art, that's where I'm really experiencing how problematic it is because I have to do a lot of visas every year, and I just think it has to do with opportunity, and I guess I can't even really complain. But what I mean by that is that when an institution invites me to do a show, I wish I didn't have to ask them for like 1,000 paper and documents, like that any other artist wouldn't ask for, and I wish we didn't have the stress that will I be able to come or not. But they invite me for me, so like I'm not gonna get easily replaced. See, like we're doing a Skype. I couldn't come, but we're still doing this. But for me, what I think about is all the people who do, who have to travel for work that is more maybe technical or less based on their persona, and those. Well, if they don't get replaced right away, they don't sometimes they just even get the job. They don't even and I'm thinking even about people who apply for jobs that require more bureaucracy because they're not from a country. And so again, it's all about opportunity. And also, like, with travel, you can circulate culture. And I live in America, so again, I'm not even like the worst, in the worst situation compared to other Moroccans or other people with passports that are not easy around the world. But a lot of people who produce culture, for example, from Morocco, they can't even afford to have a visa, for example, if you compare. So their culture is circulated by other people who think their culture is cool, and they come from like Europe, and they bring it other places, or they open restaurants for them in other places or things like that. So I think it really has to do with circulation of culture and who gets to profit from it. That's the most important part, because if you can profit, you can survive, and you can also have time to produce more culture. And it's a vicious cycle.
Yeah, and following, I guess, more kind of a speculative path in the conversation, how would you imagine, like, let's say, like, for some weird reason, because we created a whole media scandal out of this story, then, I don't know, you get in the position of, Meriem, you can design the new kind of visa system for artists. Let's start by there, let's say like they do a test for people who identify themselves as artists. How would you design that kind of process? Because I mean, in theory, visas has a purpose that relate a lot to the topics that we are relating to. Talking about the identity, because when you fill a form, you kind of think yourself, what is my profession? What was your occupation? Then, as well, work is like for many people, if you ask them what do you do, I'm an artist, and then no, but what is your occupation, like seriously, that kind of thing. So how would you, if you were in charge, new if you were like the minister of visas in a utopian world for all the countries, uh, how do you envision that?
Well, in the utopian world, I wouldn't prioritize artists. I think I would start with people who seek asylum, for example, who are not safe in a country because maybe of their sexual orientation, or I would start with people who go to other countries to work, like low income jobs, just to make it. So I think, again, like I'm not saying that there's like a hierarchy. Everyone should have access to visas, but again, I don't think I'm in the worst situation. And also, to give more details, I applied for a tourist visa. I didn't apply saying I was coming to a conference. But that brings me back to other problem, which is that the reason I did that is because otherwise they would only allow me to come for the 4 days of the conference, and I want to have a longer visa because I'm from Morocco. Maybe I want to go to Spain. Maybe I want to go to France. So But anyway, so I don't know what the solutions are, but what I know is that just a few years ago it wasn't as hard, and it wasn't as hard on certain passports with certain populations that are getting more isolated.
Yes, so I will share a question that is in the WhatsApp group. uh, Monica is asking, what are the ways to bypass the Western filter, and how do you imagine the cultural and creative collaborations across the global South?
Um, bypass. Well, okay. So to bypass the Western filter, I could I ask Monica what she means, or I can imagine multiple options, and I think it brings different answers. Because to me, the first real filter has to do again with where money is and where market is. So, for example, I live in New York, but I can't. But even if I didn't live in New York, um, if I want to be able to make a living as an artist, and making a living is not. I'm not talking about having money. I'm talking about getting platforms for my work, and getting budget so that I can produce my work and get, just getting support. So I can't. It's hard, like there is not much room for me on any other market because the market is centralized. And now we're starting to have other markets in art. There's like the Dakar Biennial is like starting to create, and there's the Marrakesh one. So in Africa, there's like these two events that are kind of starting to create a market around them. And then in Asia, there's a lot of markets. There's like the Shanghai Biennial. There's the Hong Kong fairs. They're great. And then Dubai has become now a hub with Art Dubai and the Sharjah Biennial. But still, like all those markets are all relying on a currency that has been established through the Western market, that I'm in the heart of in terms of art. There's also Europe. So it's a little hard to bypass that in terms of like sustainability. And I think after a lot of back and forth in terms of like bypassing, who do you make work for and who do you cater to, or do you cater to someone's gaze in making your work, as for example, an Arab woman. So like, are you making Arab work? What does that even mean? I went through a lot of phases of like taking cliches and like reappropriating them to feel like they belong to me. But I think that in itself is like a conversation with the West. And I think that like my new attitude around that is to just simply try to have, and I'm doing the opposite right now, but because we're talking about it, but try to have the shortest answer when I'm asked about my identity, so that like, let's say there's an interview, and I don't want 50% of it to be my identity, because that means that then I get only 50% about my work. When any other person who's like my neighbor in New York will get a full 100% about their work. So it's like, again, like the space that we have access to and opportunity are not fair and equal. So I'm like, well, why don't we not talk about that and talk about my work? Like, my work doesn't have to be about where I'm from. So I don't know if I answered the question right, but the question also talked about collaborations between artists, right?
Yes, I mean, we can keep this conversation. Oh, this is live. Sorry. I was going to send you a sticker.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah. Just that we are running a little bit short of time, so I just wanted to. Can you put the two screens at the same size? Yeah. So I invite you to join. I will invite you actually from my phone to join the WhatsApp group, so you feel in the next couple of days like you are with us. You are with us because we are alone together here. So I want to thank you on behalf of everyone here, so we can continue with the conversation there on WhatsApp. Okay, and welcome to the family. Next time, I promise, Spanish government will pay for everything. Okay, we'll do that. Bye, Meriem.
In randomness, we trust.